Hey everyone, welcome to Breakout Wednesday. It is the 6th of December 2023. It's currently about 10 a.m. on the West Coast, 1 p.m. on the East Coast. First of all, remember this is never financial advice, I'm not a financial advisor. This is simply a video blog on how one trader sees the market, and everyone needs to take responsibility for their own decisions. Okay, I missed last week. Let's get on with it. Here's a chart of the All Ords. Okay, I've had this rally off these lows, obviously, been trending sideways. I wanted to just quickly compare that All Ords chart to say the Dow Jones Industrial Average, which is clearly, just one of the benefits of moving average is just really figuring out the relative strength in terms of what's actually trending well and what's not. So Dow Jones is well above its moving averages, trending up, obviously a lot stronger than the All Ords in Australia. And let's just look at, say, I didn't mean to say that, the NASDAQ 100, okay, which has broken out of this base and very much in an uptrend and looking much better than the All Ords, right? So, I could go on and rattle through stock markets, but the Indian ETF, okay, is at new highs. Been talking about that a little bit on and off. It's very boring. This ETF moves so slow. It's one of those things you just buy and forget about. But anyway, the US market's certainly a lot stronger than Australia. Australia's a bit frustrating, okay, to be honest with you. It's like there are some trades I'm taking, but I got to admit, 80% of everything I do is on the US markets. Before someone emails me again or whatnot, I use Interactive Brokers, okay? I've used them for like nearly 20 years now. I can't give advice on brokerage houses, but they who I use. There are heaps out there. It really doesn't matter what broker you use, okay? It's irrelevant. It's kind of irrelevant anyway. It's all about the decisions you make. Now, let's just get on to some stocks real quickly before I get on some new ones. CDA, I'm still in it, okay? It's frustrating the shit out of a lot of people because this was probably the best setup on the ASX. A week and a half ago, broke out, had a really good start, and has come back. And there's a lot of people getting frustrated and probably bailing. I'm sticking in it for now. Okay, I've got a profit on my first position, wherever the hell that was. I can't even remember. I was one of these kind of down sloping resistance lines here or something. I think it was there. This is the problem with these down sloping things. They look great when you pull them off, but when you look back on the chart, it's as messy as all hell, hey? Whereas the horizontal resistance lines is black and white. It's a no-brainer. So they're always going to be my favorite. So anyway, I've got a bit of a buffer there because my first position was a lot bigger than my second position. So I can get out of that for a win if it starts falling back down, but we'll see. Hanging in there for now. Best trade over the last few weeks has been Mara that talked about 2 weeks ago. Obviously, it's a Bitcoin miner that was setting up in this kind of symmetrical triangle, had an explosive breakout, and up about 50% since then. I've sold 2/3 of it in this little box up here at 15.42. And I'm holding 1/3 of it left to see if it can go batshit crazy and rally up to these old highs here. Nothing would surprise me with Bitcoin, I'm still just as much a believer as ever. I will start talking about it a bit more maybe, but it's just no one's really talking about it still. It's back at 44,000 as I'm recording this. It's up 70% this quarter, and everyone that said Bitcoin was dead and crypto's dead. I mean, shit, this stuff isn't dying. And I've dollar cost averaged into Bitcoin every single week for years and years and years and years and years now. Okay, I'm not going to stop doing it. And what will be will be. We'll see if I'm right in 10 years from now. Okay, but look at the charts and look at the trading opportunities that this amazing thing provides us. Okay, who gives a shit if you believe in it or not, right? Look at this stuff. Look at the setups it gives. Look at this one back here. I mean, holy crap! If you're not trading this and you're a breakout trader, I mean, I just don't get it. It's just some of the nicest setups. If you do your work and you just never ever miss a day of work, and you're gonna find these things, and there's just so much money to be made. I just don't get why people don't trade this stuff. It's like they're so against Bitcoin that they refuse to touch these amazing setups, which is an emotional, subjective, weak thing, in my opinion. There was money to be made, guys. AND. I did take a small position. I could hardly get any of these. This is a thinner liquid thing, but I love that setup. I just thought I'd take a little bit for fun. It was hard to get much on the breakout here, but lovely setup. Let's see what happens. I'm hoping this just drifts higher. Obviously, we'll see what happens there. But lovely setup. If that was more liquid, it'd be perfect. AVGO, I'm out of that. Okay, I'll show you I bailed out. I mean, I just wanted this to get on with it, but when it started breaking this little pivot here, I got out there for a small win. Okay, lovely base. Statistically, that's just perfect. But if it's going to start falling back into this base after a breakout, whoops, the hell happened there? I don't want anything to do with it once it's not. I'm not going to, it's rallied here from 930 or whatever up to, 1,000. If this is going to be a big winner, it's just going to go. Okay, it's going to be like MRNA and just get the hell on with it and just go batshit nuts. Okay, if it starts falling over and dropping back into this gigantic base, why the hell do I want to be in it? It doesn't make any sense. Okay, everything's changed. The probability of success has changed. I don't want my money tied up in that shit. So out of that, small win and forget about it. And ACF likewise, it's just, this thing's too slow moving for me, guys. I got out here a bit better, about break even on that. That's about it in terms of past trades. Just quickly move on. The mega caps, it pays to never take your eyes off the mega caps just to get a gauge of what the hell is going on in the market. Apple broke out of a little Davis box last night, had this flush out here, flush out here. If you want to learn about flush outs and the importance of them, just have a look at the Apple chart, okay? If you call it a stop run, a fake out, a flush out, they're all the same things, guys. A stop run is exactly the same thing as a flush out, okay? These guys come here, they flush out these stops, they get rid of weak hands, and you can call it smart money or who knows what money it is, but there's people buying here, these flush outs, it gets rejected and it rallies, and this is just a sign of a very, very good sign that it bottoms in, okay? So anyway, Apple, I wanted that to base longer sideways, it didn't, but anyway, it's interesting to see. Now, just a real quick scan, guys, just to show this new favorite scan of mine. Let's just do on the ASX, then let's just go up and press this one within 3% of the last 100-day high. Okay, let's scan that. Now, when it comes up with this MVF, okay, it's actually broken out intraday, but it was just sitting below this low. Now, I've talked about this stock years ago for those who are listening as it was on this run, and this is a choppy stock that loves to just stuff around and breaks out by 1 pip, retraces, choppy. Just look at it, right? It's the opposite of that MRNA chart, hey. But it's a grinder, but it can still churn and grind higher. And this is just some massive resistance up here with a flush out here, okay. And so I ended up jumping into MVF today. They came up in that scan. We'll see how that unfolds over the next little bit, okay. And the other one I wanted to quickly show on this scanner, okay, is PME. So obviously this scan's finding any stock within 3% of its 100-day high. Okay, the PME is just sitting in a new Davis box up here, which I can find in a second bit. And this is probably, probably one of the best companies on the ASX. If I had a gun to my head, this thing just continues to win. I mean, look at its history, okay. And it's hard to buy a breakout up there, isn't it? But, you've got to remind yourself that this thing just keeps performing and keeps breaking out and keeps going higher. At the moment, that setup is too short term. Okay, it's like just there's only how many days are in there? Sorry, guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10, I need, in this market, I need 20 days of tight consolidation. So it's given me half of what I need. A useful thing is just count, like MRNA, if you just count this pattern, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 20. It's like 20-something days in there, okay? You really need that. That's the shortest term base that is incredibly high probability. Whereas if you start going down to 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 day bases, I think the probability of success really kind of goes down, okay? Really decreases. So PME, we can just tighten there for a lot longer. I'll climb into that. Now I just want to do a quick Davis scan just to show some interesting stuff that's forming just on the ASX before I move on to the American markets in terms of some iron ore stocks which are all basing away, okay. Okay, the first one is CIA, which is just basing away here. And if you just look at its all-time chart, it's been going sideways, really, hasn't it? It's been, with some massive wild swings with it, but since, mid 2021. If you look at a weekly chart, just to clean it up a bit, just churning sideways. But it can have periods of intense trending. Okay, so this period here really trended nicely. Obviously, if you're here, trended nicely. Now, and now it's sitting up here in a Davis box up near those all-time highs, and it's hopefully tightening up. And I just, I like CIA. I've been in it a lot of times, and it can really trend nice. And so I'm just got that on the watch list. I'm hoping that can just base there for weeks and weeks to come. Okay, like another 2 weeks maybe. But if it does, then that'll be A+ setup for me. Okay, it's sitting up near all-time highs. It's blue skies very close nearby. And all it needs to do now is just base for long enough on contracting volume, and then I'll trade the shit out of it. Okay, and it's not the only iron ore stock setting up. If we just flick to FMG, this is the stock. I was in this one back here. For those that watched, I got out when it gapped up here. Maybe time will show that I shouldn't have got out, but I'm pretty happy with that trade. But now this thing's setting up again, maybe setting up again. It's basing just like CIA, and one thing we know about iron ore is that it can be a little bit like lithium. When it trends, it really does trend. It can be like all commodities, right? Doesn't matter what it is, copper, gold, lithium, iron ore. It just doesn't matter. When commodities trend, they can have some of the best trends in the world, and you can get some really, really amazing moves in the corresponding stocks. Okay, and so there's another iron ore stock setting up, and it's not just these guys, right? I could rattle through countless ones, and I'm just going to find, sorry, I thought Rio was in a box, but it must have come up in a different scan. But Rio and BH, they're all kind of forming similar patterns there. Okay, all right, that's enough of that. Washing those, I'd like those to base longer before I make a decision on them. And then I'm just going to do one other dive scan on the NASDAQ and show you some NASDAQ stocks coming up. 1 second. All right, now one of the issues obviously is that there's so many stocks right now basing on the NASDAQ and NYSE markets. Really, really, really difficult, because all the crypto stocks, which is the hottest sector at the moment, in my opinion, they're all flying, like they're all extended. Okay, I can't take any new positions in crypto related stocks. Okay, there's a bunch of other hot sectors, like a bunch of these trading companies are setting up, but there's also a lot of everywhere you live. Give me a second. Where is it? Is there a lot of these kind of aerospace and defense stocks are flying? Okay, Boeing has just had a most amazing rally from these lows, and we're going to touch on that in some Davis boxes that are coming up in a sec. Okay, but one I like, I'm starting to like, is FAST, FAST, that's just forming here on the NASDAQ. Just tightening and tightening. I just love these Davis scans because they just find these stocks that, the preference always has to be to find stocks with pretty much blue sky above it. And when I say blue sky, the best blue sky is when it's at least a 52-week high. Okay, and so it's making it just the highest price for the last 52 weeks, because then most traders and investors are happy and they're willing to just sit back and let that thing climb. And so that's why it's so powerful. So FAST, I'd still like that to base longer. I don't have an order in that yet, but hopefully I will soon. And there's just countless ones here, guys. 1 sec. Okay, here's another one. It's a similar stock to FAST, but FTAI. It's just tightening. If you go to all-time 5-year chart, it's just got blue sky above it. It's obviously sitting in its like third or fourth box, which can be, fifth box, which can be hard psychologically, but if that can just tighten, I don't care. If it gives me 20-30 days of incredibly tight action, I'll take that for a quick trade. Okay, just let it rally a little bit and just bail the hell out of it. Okay, that would be the strategy for something like that. I'm not going to go for a 2 or 3 or 4 month move when something is in its fourth or fifth box, but I'm very happy to go for a little quick trade. Okay, so that's what I'd be doing with that one. Okay, and then look, guys, I'm just rolling through these Davis boxes and just talking about the odd one, but there's like literally hundreds, not hundreds, but there's dozens and dozens in there that I like. Here's little chemical stock just setting up here with the absolute blue sky above it. It's really clean, pretty illiquid though, and well, still did over 6 million yesterday, so it's actually not that illiquid, but anyway, this is kind of classic Davis. This stock can move. The bottom of the, it can move pretty well, this stock, when it wants to. I've traded a few times, and so this is just another example. It's a pretty simple shit. This is not rocket science. I'm just looking for stocks tight in at all-time highs in bases, okay, and I'm trying to stay away from all the cheap crap that most people trade in the gutter, because most people that do that end up just losing money year after year. And then there's two more stocks. Sorry guys, by the way, I meant to say FTAI, it's an aviation company, okay? It's like, that's why I brought up Boeing before, because, a lot of these stocks in this sector, in the aviation space, are really, really strong at the moment. I'm always looking for stocks in the right sectors, because it just increases the probability. And on that point, there's two more stocks in the education sector I want to talk about. Okay, one is LINC, okay, which is just setting up on the NASDAQ in the Davis box with blue sky above it. And it's had a big run, okay, but it's just sitting here and it's basing away, and I'm watching it. And there's another one that looks really similar called LOPE, which has already had a huge run. It's sitting here in a new box, okay. Sorry guys, here's a chart of LOPE. And so it's just sitting here in this box. It looks great, hey. It's hard to trade it because it's already had this big run, and ideally these things, you'd have a good 3 to 4 week base there, but sometimes they don't give it to you. They just set up and then they just bang again. So I think, the best sectors now is crypto, followed by aerospace, and then education services, and then a bunch of commodities are coming good, okay, and tech, a bunch of tech stocks are strong, but a bunch of commodities too, a bunch of iron ore stocks and the like, okay. So I'm trying to concentrate on those best sectors. That's it for now. Take care, everyone. Cheers.